Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanathmirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Prakshuram Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Prakarini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. By the way, before I start, I've seen many devotees making mistakes in Prabhupada Pranam Mantra. So note the pronunciation. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Himate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve. It is not Saraswati Deve, it is not Saraswate Deve, it is Saraswate Deve. Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Okay, continuing. Okay, verse 17. So we have finished austerity of body, mind, and speech. Now it is about same thing is just finishing this austerity. Yeah. Sadhaya parayataptam tapastat trividam naraihi aphalakankshibhiryuktaihi satvikam parichakshate. This threefold austerity, which is austerity of body, mind, and speech, performed with transcendental faith, paraya shraddhaya, by men not expecting material benefits but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity in goodness. Now here it is for the sake of the Supreme means it is Brahman. So that is why it is just said as austerity in goodness. But if this is towards the Supreme Lord, Krishna, then it will be in transcendence. It will rise above the three modes. Okay, so anyway, there's no purport, but generally just to understand, goodness is for the sake of Supreme, it is Brahman, and executed without material benefits. Tatkaramana pujartam tapodambhena chaivayat kriyate taddiha proktam rajasam chalam madhruvam. Penance performed out of pride and for sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Now, this is very important. Penance performed. So we do so many tapascharya. We may do so many types of penances to please Krishna. But if it is done out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, so this is very important. Right? That is why it is said that we should not promote our bhakti, right, or our advancement with people in general. It should be with very select devotees, either they are guiding you or they are your very close friends in bhakti. You can share your progress only with them. Maybe you are making tremendous progress. World doesn't need to know, because then it results in respect. Then we start thinking, oh, I'm getting respect, and it is especially very dangerous for preachers. Even we might not have performed it out of pride, but repeatedly when some recognition starts happening, then even though it's tapascharya for pleasing the Lord, we will suddenly start becoming proud about it. Sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship. So always, even with the intent of preaching, generally we should not show off our austerities or our internal mood, etc. in general, right? So we should be very careful about that, because people will generally then respect, they will appreciate, they'll say, wow, you're so advanced. Then we'll feel, yeah, I'm really advanced, right? So we have to be very careful about this. For the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship, la puja pratishtha. So this is the most dangerous thing for devotees. Actually, devotees give up everything. They give up this material world, they give up attachments, everything they give up, but they get stuck with this. And we see, especially in an institution like ISKCON, many devotees who are, made progress, senior positions, they got stuck with this respect, honor, and worship. And sometimes even labha, like, gain, material gain also, or may not be material gain, but respect, honor, worship. And they fall down because this is passion. This is passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. So you have to be very careful. This is very subtle, might not affect all of us immediately, but as we start preaching, as we, make more progress in Krishna consciousness, more people come to know about us, and especially true for devotees who are doing intense bhakti. Because generally you will see that you will move much faster than people around you, and then your peers, your friends might start recognizing you, yeah, your intensity, and you might feel, oh yeah, see, I'm doing so much. So we have to be very careful. Sometimes penance and austerity are executed to attract people and receive honor. See, this we have to be very careful, very careful. In the name of attracting people, we should not end up doing things which are not approved by Prabhupada. And so I've seen so many devotees showing off their penance and austerity on internet. Why? To attract people. Thinking, okay, if I show all this, then they will be attracted to me. What are these synonyms? Sorry, Rajan Prabhu, what is your question? We're discussing the 17th chapter, 18th verse. The synonyms are the word-to-word meaning of the Sanskrit. Satkara, Mana, Puja. So this verse we read, it is a synonym. You can connect me later, I'll help you understand better. Yeah. Yeah, so penance and austerity, are put on the internet so that people see these and somehow become attracted. Yes, well, the intentions might be very pure, saying that, okay, let somebody see my sadhana, my standard, and then, let them maybe get attracted to Krishna. But, it's very dangerous, very dangerous. It can just make us fall, right? So we have to be very careful with all these things. To attract people, receive honor, respect, and worship from others. Person in the mode of passion arranged to be worshipped by subordinates and let them wash their feet and offer rituals. Person in the mode of passion, right? Such arrangements artificially made by the performance of penances are considered to be the mode of passion. Results are temporary. They can be continued for some time, but they're not permanent. Okay. So respect, honor, worship, pride. This is penance in the mode of passion. मूढग्राहेणात्मनो यत् पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्. Penance performed out of foolishness, with self-torture, or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So people do penance out of foolishness. Foolishness means that there is no underlying reason for spiritual advancement. Like Prabhupada here talks about Hiranyakashipu. Instances of foolish people foolish penance undertaken by demons like Hiranyakashipu performed austere penances to become immortal and kill the demigods. He prayed to Brahma for such things, but ultimately he was killed by Supreme Personality of Godhead. To undergo penances for something which is impossible is certainly in the mode of ignorance. And this impossible means materially, right? Like to achieve Krishna, who is anyway impossible, is not foolishness. Penance performed out of foolishness with self-torture. So what Brahma did, what Urkasura did, what Ravana did, what many modern people, so-called followers of Bhagavad Gita did, doing fasting for non-spiritual reasons. This self-torture, torturing the body and not required, right? Or to destroy others, like Vrukasura, or injure others. So all this is in a mode of ignorance. Okay. Now, very important part, especially for anybody who is earning money in this material world. And especially it is said grastas, because previously only grastas used to earn money. Brahmacharya was the ashrama where nobody earned money, and when they become grasta, they earn money. Anyway, but the principle is anybody who wants money, it's for all of those people, right? दातव्यम् इति यद्दानं दीयते अनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम्. Now people generally have a willing or desire to give charity. At least many people want to give charity in today's world, but they don't know whom to give, where to give, and they generally end up in giving charity to various institutions who are helping the poor, maybe destitutes, um, yeah, old people who have been without care, nobody, no children, etc., taking care of them, etc. They give to such places. So you have to understand really what Shastra is saying, what Krishna is saying with respect to this charity. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return, right? Out of duty, meaning as a grihastha, I have to give money, charity. As a person who's earning money, because Krishna is giving money, I have to give charity. This is duty. Okay, so this is the first part, which means that anybody who's earning money, it's his duty to give charity. Second, without expectation of return. When we are giving, we should not think, okay, I'm giving this so that I can get names, so that they'll, whatever, right? Any kind of expectation should not be there. For example, some people say, okay, I'm giving to this ashrama, let them put my name on the plaque, or they should all sing my glory. No, no return, expectation of return. Proper time and place. This is very difficult to understand for normal person, right? Proper time and place, meaning what is that place or where we are giving the donation? What is this money going to be used for, right? And to a worthy person, again, if it is being given to a worthy person, is he worthy enough? What is he going to do with the money? So if all these are certain that it is a proper time, it's a proper place and worthy, and for all this, it has to be based on Shastra, not on my own understanding of what proper time is or what proper place is, or who a worthy person is. It has to be based on Shastra, right? And such a charity is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Now, Prabhupada is now expanding on these aspects, what this means, right, from Shastra. In the Vedic literature, charity given to a person engaged in spiritual activities is recommended. So this proper time, place means that place which is encouraging spiritual activities. Worthy person means person who is engaged in spiritual activities. Charity has to be given in to that person. This is charity in the mode of goodness. There is no recommendation for giving charity indiscriminately. Indiscriminately means giving it to whoever we want. First of all, we understood charity has to be given, but charity has to be given without expectation return at a proper time, place, person, which should not be done indiscriminately. So this is one very, very important thing. Actually, discrimination cannot be lost. We cannot lose our discrimination of right and wrong. And this is one of the things that is most people are in today's ISKCON, this discrimination is being lost. Why discrimination is being lost? Because there's no basis for discrimination. We have to be able to discriminate. What does discriminate mean? We should be able to say, okay, this is right, this is wrong. Now, on what basis will we do? It should be based on Guru Sadhu Shastra. And for us, Prabhupada is the Shiksha Guru. He's commenting on Shastra, which is Bhagavad Gita, and Acharyas, because he's following disciplic succession. So we should read Prabhupada's books, right? And only when we read Prabhupada's books can we know what is right, what is wrong. Then we should discriminate. When we say discriminate, we are not saying somebody is high, somebody is low, somebody is great devotee, somebody is horrible devotee. No. Discriminate meaning, if something is in line with Shastra or not in line with Shastra, if something is in line with what Prabhupada is saying or not in line with what Prabhupada is saying. And we should discriminate while we should respect everybody, even an ordinary jiva, no question of disrespecting, offending devotees. Absolutely right. But we have to discriminate and we have to make sure that we are associating with the right. And this is absolutely true for charity as well, right? We cannot just indiscriminately, meaning without consideration, without understanding basis for right or wrong, simply give money. Spiritual perfection is always a consideration. You can have other considerations, but this has to be there. If this is not there, all other considerations are become like an indiscriminate decision. If spiritual perfection is not factored in, then it's an indiscriminate decision. Therefore, see, logic, Prabhupada is always uses logic. So he's saying Vedic literature says this, there's no recommendation. Spiritual perfection is always a consideration. So this is the consideration to decide time, place, and person. See, we should always understand Prabhupada's structure of Prabhupada's purpose, his writing, his style of writing, his language. If we can start understanding it, then the reading is more effective. Therefore, charity is recommended to be given at a place of pilgrimage, at a lunar solar eclipse, or at the end of the month, or to a qualified Brahmana or a Vaishnava, or in temples. Right? So this is what is recommended. Now, giving it outside this, and even place of pilgrimage obviously again means authorized people there. Right? Lunar solar eclipse is okay. I mean, if it can be done, it's good. End of the month, if it is done, it's good. But more important thing is Brahmana, Vaishnava temples. We should not see anything. If when we are giving it to Krishna, we should not be worried about time and other things. But this is a general guidance for charity in mode of goodness. But when it comes to when you come to giving charity to Krishna, to give it to Vaishnava temples, other considerations are very less important. Important thing is that has to be given, right? Such charity should be given without any consideration of a return. Charity to the poor is sometimes given out of compassion. But if a poor man is not worthy giving charity to, then there's no spiritual advancement. What does this mean? What does this mean? If a poor man is not worth giving charity to, can somebody try to explain briefly? Because I want to move forward, but quickly, if somebody has a
Prabhuji,
yeah.
so one example you always give that if like a beggar comes and
Mm,
in me just give it to him the money, he
mm,
might, we don't know what he will be doing with it. He might be
yeah,
just going and drinking. So that
yeah,
will be a wrong charity.
yeah, yeah. So just because somebody is poor doesn't mean that we have to give charity. First of all, we should understand that person became poor because of some wrong things that he has done in the past, right? Now, by encouraging one more wrong activity from that person, I'm not doing any good for him, right? And that is the reason always carry prasadam with you. Anything, one fruit, little, dry fruits, if you will, whatever you want, right? Which you can carry with you. And if anybody comes asking for money, give them prasadam. Don't ever give them money. And I mean, we know of in Bangalore specifically, right? There is beggars colony. Space has been created by government to help them live and give them occupation, because they don't want people begging on the street. But these people don't want to work because it's hard labor. They want it the easy way out. Just go beg. People will give. Just imagine, all day you're standing, get maybe 200, 300 rupees, which is more than what you will get paid anywhere. Whatever it is, then you can do whatever you want. So these people don't want to work. They don't want to align with the society, align with any other expectation, because they're being, helped by people by giving money. It's no use. At the end of the day, they want food. We should give food. We should give prasadam. But that they don't want. I've seen people rejecting, saying, no, I want money only. So, but if you give like this, then there's no spiritual advancement. And Prabhupada already said spiritual perfection is always a consideration. So if there's no spiritual advancement, then that charity is useless. Somebody came to us in our Sulimau center and said, we're from Anant Ashrama. Can you help? I said, please come and have prasadam every Sunday. We'll give you prasadam. We don't have anything else to give anyway. Whatever Krishna sends, we use, but we use everything for this. Hey, please come and have prasadam. That's it. No cash. So indiscriminate charity is not recommended, but please remember charity has to be given. It is our duty. And it has to be given to a worthy person. And Prabhupada has made it very clear that it is a Brahmana, Vaishnava, or temple. And if somebody wants to give charity, please let me know. I can guide you. Yat pratyupakarartham phalam uddishya va punaha diyatena cha pariklishtam taddanam rajasam smritam. By the way, I had discussed this much earlier, but if suppose what happens if you don't give charity, if you are earning and you don't give charity? Anybody understands what will happen if you don't give charity? What is the problem? Okay, so see, this is very important to understand. Actually, grihasthas are supposed to, if you look at the varnashrama, like there are 4 varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. There are 4 ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. Now, the people who are brahmacharis, who are vanaprasthis and sannyasis, they don't have any means of livelihood. And their means of livelihood is actually mostly charity or naturally grown, like fields and, like generally agriculture, cow protection. It's all based on this, that the other 3 ashramas survive, right? And so the only ashrama in all the 4 ashramas who's earning money, economic profit or economic development is Grihastha. So Grihastha actually has to support the whole society by his money. So he has to give charity, right? There's no other. This is one. Second thing is when we work. Of course, previously, people used to work, do work based on Vedic injunctions, following rules, etc. So they never used to get bound by their work because they used to do based on their nature without attachment. We discussed all this, how karma has to be done. Now, if karma is done, if somebody is engaged in work which is maybe not our nature, maybe not our varna, because we don't even know what our varna is, then we are earning money and it is actually sinful. It's binding. So what happens? So you're earning money and you become bound, becoming more and more bound. How do you protect yourself? How do you save yourself? Right? Is by dedicating, offering the money to Krishna. When we offer money to Krishna, to the extent we are offering money to Krishna, to that extent we become purified. Otherwise, that work and earning that we are doing will bind us. So for purification, we have to give charity. Especially devotees have to give charity. For other people, I mean, they want some material, benefit. They have to give charity because they're grihasthas and it's a duty for them to do. But for devotees, if you don't give charity, then we will not purify ourselves. Yeah, Nakul Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
You are talking about Varnashrama, right? What is the difference between Vanaprastha and Sannyasa? Just a small.
Yeah. So in Vanaprastha, you're not really out of the society as such, right? Sannyasi is completely out of the society, meaning there are different levels, but he should not be living in a home, basically, right? Brahmachari and sannyasis don't live in a home. Vanaprastha can choose to live in a home. He can choose to live in the forest also, but he can choose to live in a home, and he can even, there are 2, actually there are 4 types of vanaprasthas, but 2 types wherein one can either be with family or alone, right? Be with wife or without. That option is there for vanaprasthas. But the consideration is full time anyway engaging in bhakti. Sannyasi doesn't have that. He doesn't have family, he doesn't have society. He's just cuts himself out completely, and he's also engaged 24 hours in Krishna consciousness. So the main difference is, and also the position of a sannyasi. Like for example, sannyasi has to guide the rest of the varnas. Vanaprasthi doesn't have that responsibility. He doesn't have to guide the rest of the varnas. Right, but vanaprastha person is actually just making more progress in his on the spiritual path, so that he can eventually next stage become a sannyasi. So it's like a stepping stone to sannyasi. Sannyasi is the most qualified in the varna varnas in the ashramas, right? For guiding the society towards spiritual perfection. Okay. Okay. So here, Rajasam, so charity in the mode of passion, with expectation of return, desire for fruitive results, or in grudging mood, right? So here it says sometimes charity is performed to elevation for elevation to the heavenly kingdom, sometimes with great trouble and with repentance after, why did I spend this much? Charity is also sometimes given under some obligation, the request of a superior. These are all in the mode of passion. Meaning somebody who's giving charity doesn't himself feel like giving charity, but because somebody is telling or it's obligatory, they're doing. All this is mode of passion. There are many charitable foundations which offer their gifts to institutions where sense gratification goes on. Such charities are not recommended. See, sense gratification goes on. Either by people who are running those institutions or the institutions themselves. So we have to know where our charity is being used. That's the point Prabhupada is making here. Right. So only charity in the mode of goodness is recommended because you know that it is for proper person, proper place. Adeshakale yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate asatkritam avagnatam tattamasam udaratam. Charity performed at an impure place, improper time, unworthy person without proper attention and respect is mode of ignorance. So impure place, improper time, unworthy person is completely opposite of Sattva-guna. And more importantly here, if it is done without proper attention and respect, then that also becomes mode of ignorance. The contributions for indulgence in intoxication and gambling are not encouraged here. That's what I said with respect to that example of a beggar. That sort of contribution is in the mode of ignorance. The charity is not beneficial. Rather, sinful persons are encouraged. Similarly, if a person gives charity to a suitable person, but without respect and without attention, that sort of charity is also to be in the mode of darkness. Okay, so charity. Okay, I think I'll stop here. This Om Tat Sat is, so this just concludes the 17th chapter with 3 verses, I think 3 or 4 verses. Yajna, Tapa, Dana. These 3 things have to be noted. Please read the purports again in this because it's all for practical application. Yajna, Tapa, Dana. Yeah. Yes, Nakutru.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the last quote, that is in mode of ignorance, there is a word called time. Is it like a Rapala, something like that, Prabhu?
Yeah, I mean there are proper times. So for somebody who wants to follow Vedic way of life, yes, there are times when charity has to be given. There are good times, bad times, muhurtas. It's a very complicated science. It's not just Rahu Kala. And there's something called muhurta. Always any auspicious thing has to be done in the right muhurta. Time, right, as they say. But yeah, for when we are doing material activities, all these things have to be considered. When we are doing spiritual activities, none of this is required because we should be doing it with Sarvadharman Parityaja mood. But generally, for example, say if a temple is being opened, then I've seen even big swamis in ISKCON, they see muhurta and do. So it's okay if that science is known. But more important thing is, if we don't know, then we have to just do with complete surrender. But if these things are followed, it's always good. See, the Vedic way of life is always beneficial for bhakti. It's not going to go against, it's not going to pull us down in any way. Just that we should not get too much into too many rules and regulations which don't matter to us at all. So that discrimination again is required, which again requires proper guidance, suitable guidance for us to know which ones to accept, which ones to be worried about, which ones not to be worried about. But generally, Vedic way of life is very, very beneficial. Yeah, Akshay Prabhu.
Prabhuji, regarding honor, right? The first one. So if I want to put some videos on internet like YouTube regarding whatever small knowledge I have, is that allowed or not allowed?
No, absolutely no. I mean, then what am I? I'm also doing the same thing, putting everything on the internet. See, but the idea is that we should not be driven by La Puja Pratishtha. If you have a sincere desire to promote, Krishna consciousness to help people out, then we can do. But of course, then I'm not giving a generic answer here because it depends on what video, what content, etc., etc. But if it is being done with the right intent, then actually doing it is one thing, right? Second is, if in case one gets recognized, what do we do? That's the problem, right? If we are doing with the expectation of honor, then anyway it's very bad. You're not doing with expectation of honor, but you did something and then honor and respect came to you. Then how will you deal with it? Are you mature enough to deal with it, right? Or will you get sucked into it, right? So that is the important thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay. Anything
Prabhuji,
else? Yes, Bhavani Mataji.
when everything is predestined, then why people get sad, or why people get angry, why people get offended with some behaviors? We
Okay,
should
so
accept them as it is, right?
yeah. So yeah, well,
Then
it's not.
when we try to teach or when we try to explain, sometimes things get more worsened.
Yeah, always, not sometimes. Always it gets worse. It's not directly connected to the topic on hand, but see, basically it's all predestined. But how many people understand that it's predestined? Most people will lose motivation to live if they think that everything is predestined. And of course, if not everything is predestined, in the sense, what happiness and distress we are going to get is predestined. Okay, but how we react in those situations is not predestined. That is our new karma. So let me say that again. The happiness and distress that we are going to get in this life is predestined. Okay, but what I do in that situation is not predestined. So which means, for example, say I met with something, say I'm not well, for example, right? Now what I do at that point of time, that I have to fall sick, is predestined. What I do at that point of time is not predestined, in the sense that either I can, or somebody has some serious problem, either they can go to the temple or they can go to the bar. That is not predestined. I can decide, saying that maybe, I'm going to go try and get relief by going and drinking, right? So that is one, just to understand that everything is predestined, in the sense what we are going to experience is predestined. What we are going to do is not predestined. That is creating new karma for us, new karma phala. Second, why people can't deal with it? Because they don't understand. First of all, everybody is living on the platform that I am the body. And I'm the body means I am dead by the end of this life, right? After that, there is nothing. So till I live, I should live in style. I should live with respect. I should live with, whatever their so-called expectations in life are. I should have money. I should have position. Because they have a very limited conception of life. So that is, Prabhupada calls it as material conception of life. Obviously, then they are steeped in false ego because they think they're the body, and this position I'm in, money that I'm in, all this is a package, and I'm this kind of a great person. How can somebody say like this to me? And Prabhupada said, actually, even a beggar on the street thinks that he's a great person, by the way. He has his own area of influence. Even a dog on the street has area of influence, right? It barks if there are dogs coming from the, different areas. So obviously, man in that lower consciousness also has these propensities. So we should not question why, because this whole world we are all here because of all these propensities, right? And what is always important to note is that all this is there. This is reality in this material world. Now, the real question, intelligent question is, how does one get out of it? How does one get out of all this, la puja pratishtha, all these considerations? How to elevate ourselves? And then the answer will come through the process of devotional service, right? Because even through a process of jnana, it's not 100% achievable. By the process of yoga, we can also go up to a certain extent. But it's only bhakti which will give us 100% irrevocable, or, something which is not going to happen again, right? What is that called? Yeah, I mean, Shastra says irrevocable, which means that once you reach the stage of bhakti, then these things will not reoccur in you. These qualities will not reappear in you. Right? It's like that. Once destroyed, it's completely destroyed. So the only way is for us to come, for example, false ego. I mean, so many devotees, I mean, all of us who are practicing Krishna consciousness, we realize saying that by proper practice of Krishna consciousness, we are actually able to get over our false ego, right? Our anger, our lust, greed, all this, because the process is so powerful. So automatically we can understand, and then also make progress by the process of bhakti. Okay, yeah, Preeti Mataji.
No, I was just irrevocable means not changing, we cannot change it back, or
No,
not
irrevocable means it doesn't happen again. Right? 1 second, let me see the
impossible to change.
Yeah, it cannot be changed again like that. Cannot be reversed. Cannot be reversed. That's the word. Irrevocable means cannot be reversed. It's final, it's like a final state. So when we reach the stage of prema, then actually anarthas are irrevocable, Shastra says, which means that anarthas cannot again come back. But even in the stage of bhava, anarthas can be there. And so that is why anartha destruction also has multiple levels. Anyway, this and all will come later. It's called book called Madhurya Kadimbini. We'll read that at some point. Okay, any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Sakshana.
Prabhu, after how we generally people go from brahmachari to grihastha, then vanaprastha. So is it compulsory that the sannyas should also be after?
No, not required. Not required. Actually, this varnashrama intention is that previously only sannyasis used to come to the stage of perfection, right? But for us today, because we are in the process of bhakti, grihastha, vanaprastha is mandatory. Sannyasa is okay. If somebody has that inclination for sannyas, then person can take. But important thing is vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is very, very important. Meaning a person has to give up material duties at the age of whatever, 50, 55. And draw a line. Of course, we cannot say 50, 55 because people say we're not married at all. Our children are still small. They have to be married. Yeah. So our grihastha responsibility remains till we get our children married, right? That's it. Not beyond that. And it's important that we do this on time and appropriately so that we are done with our responsibilities and then we 24 hours then engage in Krishna consciousness. So vanaprastha is absolutely mandatory because Prabhupada has said 15 to 18 years fully engaging in Krishna consciousness, one can achieve perfection. 15 to 18 years, he said, right? So which means that it can't be in grihastha because it's flooded with so many responsibilities, etc. And then we, do bhakti in spite of all those challenges. And then we come to vanaprastha and then we are fully free and then we flourish, our bhakti flourishes and we achieve perfection. Again, these things are not, these things people don't talk. People talk about vanaprastha, give up your job, people will run away. What kind of preaching is this nonsense? Sorry, this is what Prabhupada has taught us. Okay, what else? Okay, there's nothing else. We'll close. Tomorrow we'll not have class. I think at least for us in ISKCON Sheshadripuram, there's a external speaker. So I would let people go and hear there and we will continue. We'll have our Bhagavatam class on Sunday. Then take this forward. Okay. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo koti vaishnavamriti jagat Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad.
Hare Krishna.